When a teen girl lies her way onto the boys' soccer team, even she's surprised by what happens next. Welcome back to Nonstop Recap. Today, we'll be going over the 2006 sports comedy, She's the Man. Viola is a skilled soccer player, and even her boyfriend Justin says she's better than half the guys on his team. So, when she and her friend Kia learn from fellow teammate Yvonne that the girls' soccer team is being cut, they reasonably ask if they can try out for the boys' team. But the coach simply laughs them off. Their school, Cornwall, has an upcoming game with rival Illyria, and he doesn't think the girls have what it takes to win. Justin agrees, and Viola promptly dumps him. Returning home, Viola is mistaken for her twin brother Sebastian by his girlfriend Monique. Viola's mother Daphne then tries to get her psyched up about an upcoming debutante's ball, but Viola only cares about soccer. Upstairs, Viola finds Sebastian sneaking out the window for a 2-week trip to London with his band. Since he's supposed to be starting at Illyria after getting booted from Cornwall, he asks Viola to cover for him with their mom. Viola agrees, but another debate with Daphne prompts Daphne to compare Viola to her brother. This inspires Viola to have her friend Paul transform her into Sebastian so she can take his place at Illyria and beat her former team. She covers with Daphne by telling her she'll be staying with her father for the next 2 weeks. Viola arrives at Illyria disguised as Sebastian, but starts to have second thoughts about her plan. Paul reassures her and walks her through how to talk, walk, and spit. Viola fearfully makes it to her room, where she meets her roommate Duke along with his friends and fellow soccer teammates Andrew and Toby. When she accidentally spills a box of tampons while unpacking, she claims to just use them for nosebleeds. This instantly gives her a reputation as the weird kid. Viola later heads to team tryouts and meets the abrasive Coach Dinklage. Despite competent soccer skills, Viola struggles with general athletic performance and only makes the second-string team. The players hit the showers, which worries Viola until she's thankfully called out to Principal Gold's office. Principal Gold welcomes her to the school, telling her that he values his transfer students and may occasionally check in on her unannounced. On the way out, she meets Olivia, who seems intrigued as she watches Viola leave. Viola later learns at lunch that Duke and Justin have an ongoing soccer rivalry. She also learns that Duke has the hots for Olivia, but the pretentious Malcolm is competing for her attention. She has no idea, however, what a threat Malcolm will really turn out to be. That night, Viola finds the bathroom empty and removes her chest bindings to take a shower, but Malcolm shortly walks in to remand her for not wearing shower shoes. When Duke enters as well, she gives up and leaves, nearly leaving her bindings behind. That night, she dreams about playing an aggressive soccer game in a debutante gown and being laughed at by the team. She's then woken up for a hazing ritual where the newbies are ordered to take their clothes off, but she manages to sneak away and pull a fire alarm. Overwhelmed, she calls Paul the next day to tell him that she can't continue the facade, but he says he has a plan to boost her social status. The plan starts with Viola showing up to a pizza parlor where Duke eats with Andrew and Toby. Kia shows up and flirts with Viola, suggesting they have a highly physical relationship together. As Kia leaves, Yvonne walks in and pretends to be Viola's ex, apologizing that she wasn't woman enough for such a stud. Duke starts to reevaluate his opinions toward his roommate when Monique shows up looking for the real Sebastian. The guys direct her to Viola, who hides her face and tells Monique their relationship is over. Viola's accepted as one of the guys, but little does she know she just made an enemy. The next day, Duke is assigned to nerdy girl Eunice as a lab partner. Viola is assigned to Olivia and inadvertently wins her heart when Olivia discovers a page of romantic song lyrics written by the real Sebastian. After class, Duke pulls Viola aside and asks her to take him up to Olivia. In return, he'll help her make the first-string team. This sets off a montage of Viola training with Duke, finally getting to take a shower, getting closer to Olivia, seeing a guy's junk in the living room, and nearly forgetting to feign injury when she's hit in the crotch with a soccer ball. Malcolm vents to his tarantula, Malvolio, while Viola is gaining Olivia's affections. He decides to eliminate the competition by finding whatever dirt he can. Viola, meanwhile, talks to Sebastian and learns that he's done with Monique. After she hangs up, Principal Gold notices that she wears a wig, but fortunately assumes that it's merely a sign of hair loss. After learning from Malcolm that Malvolio's gone missing, Viola tells Olivia she should consider going out with Duke. Olivia instead confesses her feelings for Viola, but Viola naturally turns her down. That night, Duke confides in Viola that he has trouble talking to girls. She tells him it isn't that hard, and they roleplay by discussing their shared interests in Gouda. Believe it or not, you'll need to remember this. Malvolio soon appears in their room and they cower on the bed until Duke freaks out when he realizes he's holding on to another boy. Daphne then calls and leaves a message for Sebastian about the upcoming Junior League Carnival, which she expects both Viola and Sebastian to attend. At the carnival, Monique tells Duke and Viola that she'll be working the kissing booth. Viola then runs off after seeing Monique and uses a portable toilet to change into a dress. She meets with her mother, who informs her that she's supposed to take a shift at the kissing booth while Sebastian works the cotton candy cart. She then runs into Justin and slaps him when he suggests that her love of soccer makes her less of a girl. Viola changes back into her boy clothes, but she runs into Monique again and has Paul run interference while she hides in a bounce house to change back into her dress. Meanwhile, Duke psychs himself up to kiss Olivia at the booth, but Viola shows up to relieve her and he winds up kissing her instead. When it starts to get heavy, Justin shows up and the two boys wind up brawling it out. Viola returns to the dorm to find Duke with a tampon up his bloodied nose. He tells her about the kissing booth and the fight that ensued. He then opens up and tells Viola that all he wants is a girl he can talk to the same way he talks to his roommate. Viola seems touched by this, but she has no idea how dicey things are about to get. As Viola and Duke continue their training, Malcolm spies on them and Dinklage notices Viola's improvement. Duke later tells Viola that he's thinking of asking out the girl from the kissing booth. They're quickly interrupted by Dinklage, who informs Viola she's made the first string team. Meanwhile, Olivia's friend advises her to win Sebastian by making him jealous. When Olivia then hits on Duke, Viola steps away to call Duke in her real voice and ask him to dinner. But he hangs up on her and he agrees to a date with Olivia instead. Viola follows Olivia outside and accuses her of treating Duke like a piece of meat. Olivia says that if Viola doesn't trust her, she can come along and bring Eunice to make it a double date. They go to the pizza parlor where Olivia tries to steam things up with Duke in an attempt to make Viola jealous. Nearby, Toby complains to Andrew that Viola is with Eunice when he wanted to ask Eunice out himself. Eunice starts to get handsy with Viola, so Viola leaves, which causes Olivia to immediately bail on Duke. While Sebastian calls Monique to tell her he's coming back from London, Viola shows up late to a Junior League meeting and rage eats chicken while staring daggers at Olivia. She follows Olivia to the bathroom and says she heard about Olivia's date with Duke, but Olivia admits that she's just trying to make Sebastian jealous. When Viola advises her to tell the truth, Olivia decides that she's going to kiss Sebastian the next time she sees him. Monique overhears, which instigates a nasty bathroom fight between the three of them. At school, Malcolm tells Principal Gold that he thinks Sebastian's hiding something, but Gold writes it off. That night, the real Sebastian shows up at Illyria, and Olivia runs up to kiss him while Duke jealously watches. When Monique gets home, she hears Sebastian's message and storms off to find him. Viola, meanwhile, encounters an angry Duke who accuses her of betrayal and kicks her out of the dorm. As Malcolm learns Viola's secret by looking at an old yearbook, Monique shows up to the dorm looking for Sebastian. Duke unwittingly gives her Viola's phone, and a call from Justin clues her in on Viola's ruse. Outside, Eunice finds Viola and offers her a place to sleep. The next morning, everyone prepares for the big game, constantly confusing the real Sebastian for the one they know and ushering him toward of the locker rooms. Viola, meanwhile, wakes up late and rushes out to join the game. As both teams take to the field, Daphne learns from Viola's father that she hasn't really been staying with him. Duke and Justin then refuse to shake before the coin toss, which Cornwall wins. Both teams psych themselves up for an all-out war. When Viola can't find her uniform, she runs out to the field and sees Sebastian struggling to play. Before long, Principal Gold halts the game and announces to everyone that Sebastian is a girl. When Sebastian denies it, Malcolm tells him to prove it. So Sebastian lowers his shorts, much to the enjoyment of Kia and Eunice. As the game resumes, Sebastian formally breaks up with Monique. They soon break for halftime with both teams tied at 0. Viola pulls Sebastian aside and explains her ruse before taking her uniform back. At the second half, Viola helps boost the team's performance and Duke scores the first goal of the game. But when he stubbornly refuses to pass to Viola, Cornwall takes the ball and ties it up. Viola confronts him on the field and Justin uses Duke's agitation to provoke a fight. Dinklage breaks things up, but Olivia runs out to check on Viola and reignites Duke's jealousy. Viola ends the debate by removing her disguise, explaining her actions, and confessing her love for Duke. When he somehow still doesn't believe she's a girl, she takes a page from Sebastian's book and flashes everybody. Despite Cornwall's protests, Viola is allowed to continue playing as a girl. Viola gets fouled just before time runs out and has to take a game-deciding penalty shot against Justin. He blocks it, but Duke recovers and Viola nails the next attempt, winning the game for Illyria. Viola speaks to her parents and Daphne finally understands that soccer really is more important to Viola than Junior League. Viola introduces the real Sebastian to Olivia and Toby makes out with Eunice. Viola considers approaching Duke, but he's still visibly struggling with the reality of her deception. Sebastian later brings Duke a package from Viola containing a Gouda wheel and an invitation to the debutante ball. But the night of the ball, it appears that Duke isn't going to show, and Viola decides not to attend. It's not long, however, before she runs into Duke. She apologizes for lying, but he admits that he wouldn't have gotten to know her as comfortably if he'd known she was a girl. He simply asks her to stay a girl from now on. The debutantes are introduced, and Duke escorts Viola to the applause of all their friends. Afterward, Viola decides to stay at Illyria, where she's free to play without her disguise. Click one of the videos on screen right now.